there, guys. So last Saturday, Michaela and I did a live stream about book guilt and what makes us guilty when we're reading. And I was kind of talking about when I was blogging back in high school, when I would just take so many books, and I would take books even if I thought that I wouldn't like them. And now I'm much more discerning when I pick up YA because I know that there are things that I just won't like. And so I figured for today I would talk about my top 5 tropes in YA that really bug me and mean that I probably won't pick up a book. So number 5 on the list might be a little bit strange for me to say, but my bottom 5 is actually Instalove, and there's a reason for that. And even though I hate Instalove, and I always hate when it happens, sometimes in a book I understand that there's a lot of ground to cover and it just makes more sense to just automatically jump into a relationship. Sometimes Instalove relationships kind of pick up more issues later on. Really, it depends on how they're written. So, while I hate Instalove so much, honestly, if I see that, since it does happen so much and sometimes a really great relationship dynamic can come out of it, I might be more likely to pick it up. I'm not very likely to pick it up, but I am willing to give the book more time to convince me that that was a good choice for the narrative, even if I do in YA tend to be disappointed on that fact. Number 4 is kind of related to my thesis that I've been doing with assassins, and this trend of the really strong fighter, warrior, assassin female character of some kind needing to be tamed. There's this really big thing in YA, when you get a warrior character who, she doesn't like that she's a warrior, and she thinks that because she's a warrior, she's not really a woman or really even just a human being, and she needs to be tamed. And, usually the guy helps her do that. And I found that trend in, Graceling by Kristen Cashore, basically all of the books that I did for my thesis, except for Throne of Glass, kind of had that. And I'm thinking, maybe Shatter Me, there's a lot of them, and I don't like that. I like it when female characters are allowed to own their badassery and their continual desire to be less than they are is annoying, and I definitely don't want to pick that up, ever. So number 3 is kind of the reverse of that, which is when the tagline tells me this girl isn't special, but she meets a boy who is. And that kind of brings to mind, the whole Twilight thing with Bella and Edward, and how a lot of these books end up being this normal girl meets this really special, abnormal guy, and because of her normalness, she, I don't know, whatever that's supposed to be. I don't know, I find that most of those books, instead of giving power to the normal and the everyday girl, tend to be because you're so plain, he gets to do all the amazing stuff while you sit there and whine about, his safety or whatever, or you have to be saved, or you're used as a leverage. And I don't know. I think that there is some power to that narrative, like I said, to be able to say, hey, you don't always have to have special powers or be something that's not human, something like that. But so many of those books are just yep, you'll be the damsel in distress for 3 books. And that's your role, because you're the normal girl who meets the special boy. And that's super frustrating. Number 2. Again, related to romance, is those books that promise me some great setting, gonna overthrow the government, or a great fantasy world, or a really interesting mystery, and then they spend the whole book on the romance, and how the romance goes, and their relationship, and it seems like saving the world, even in apocalypse novels, whatever, saving the world is secondary to their potential happiness in a relationship. Why? I didn't come here for the romance. I came here for this really cool setting and mystery and action and adventure that you promised me, and then I don't get it because I have to focus on a you can really tell in the back of a book sometimes if the setting is just going to be a backdrop for the romance. But sometimes these books promise you a really great story, and then, again, it still is this backdrop for a romance. And don't get me wrong, I love a good romance. But, you know, I pick up a book that has action, adventure, mystery, whatever, because of the action, adventure, mystery, whatever, not because of the romance. Like, I read that at a separate time. Why? Why? And plus it makes no sense half the time, because the world can be literally burning around them, and the romance is more important at that moment. And they literally pause the destruction of the universe to be all lovey-dovey. And ain't nobody got time for that. Number 1 is not a surprise if you have followed my blog for any length of time, because I've talked about this multiple times, but number 1 is love triangles. I have gotten to the point where unless a book has been recommended to me by somebody, actually multiple somebodies that I really, really trust, I refuse to pick up another book that has a love triangle in it. I think that it's dumb. There are a lot of ridiculous things about masculinity and femininity that go into that, and what it says to young girls, and really what it says about boys and the reverse. It's all just so harmful. And then there's the fact that honestly, love triangles aren't showing up in a lot of these books because they're a good facet of a story. They're showing up because they're very easily commodified and turned into selling power for publishers and the books. So I might do a more definitive rant on explaining those things at some point, but right now just know that that is where I draw the line. I feel like the other 4 things that I've just mentioned, I can be convinced maybe if I think that it's really cool. I probably won't give the book a very good review in the end. But if I get the sense that any of those 4 things might happen, I might say, well, maybe not. Maybe I'll give this book a chance. But if I see a love triangle, no. I'm out. I'm done. I refuse. This has to end. And yeah. Just can't do it anymore. I'm done. So those are my top 5 things that will make me not pick up a YA book. In reverse, they are Instalove, The Girl Who Must Be Tamed, The Girl Who Isn't Special, Romance Overall, and then Love Triangles, the crowning jewel of terrible. Are these things that you guys also hate in YA now? Are there ones that you actually like and maybe I should, you know, not be so against? Books that you've read that have these in them? You know, whatever. Talk to me. Talk to me about them. Lord knows I love to rant. So come on, have a conversation with me, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!